Hey guys, this is Dennis, and we are still at Comic-Con, Day 2, Friday. We have Alicia Malone here.
Hello, I've already got a cold.
And we have special guests, Jeremy Jones.
Hello, I don't have a cold, but I feel mildly, it's not a hangover, it's just effects of last night.
Yeah.
It's
Okay.
Comic-Con.
So the big news yesterday at Comic-Con was that Chris Nolan and Matthew McConaughey made a surprise visit to Hall H during the Paramount panels for Interstellar. They also brought along a new Interstellar trailer that they showed to the audience, and it's something I guess they said that the general audience isn't going to see. Nolan said the reason why he wanted to go, he said he thought it would be a fun thing to do to come down and see what all the fuss is about. He also talked more about the movie. We know Interstellar is they're kind of being very secretive about what the movie is actually about. But he said this: to be an astronaut was the highest ambition, he said. The idea to keep exploring space farther and farther. It fell off greatly. We are in a period of incredible technological change, but it's about what's in your pocket, your living room. I like the idea that we are on the cusp of a brand new era and we are traveling outwards more. So what do you think about Chris Nolan and Matthew McConaughey visiting Comic-Con?
Firstly, I'm really jealous because I was so close to that and I didn't even know that they were there. I was on the press lines for Paramount, but they didn't come and do any press afterwards. Mm-hmm. But I heard from some of the stars who were talking about other projects that they had seen Matthew McConaughey and Christopher Nolan. I would have geeked out if I saw those two. Yesterday, when we were at the AMC booth, I could see some new Interstellar footage playing, and it looked like the new trailer, but the sound was down, so I couldn't see what was happening. But reading about the things that he said, I love that he's comparing this to 2001 Space Odyssey. He did say, Nolan, that he didn't want to list all the films that have influenced Interstellar because then people would start picking it apart. But he loved Blade Runner when he was young, and 2001, a big influence. So it's just all sounding really good. I am pumped for this movie. Everything I hear sounds amazing.
Jeremy?
Yeah, I love the fact that he compared it to people losing their interest in outer space. Because when I was a kid, everyone was interested in space. Everyone wanted to go to outer space. And I want to live in a world where I get a sweet Christopher Nolan movie. I get that intrigue. I get that mystery. I get that mind-blowing kind of sensation when I walk out of the movie. And then I walk out and I go, I want to look into outer space now. I want to get my telescope out and start looking at the stars, you know. I want to feel like a kid again, but have like the intellectual mind-blowing that only an adult can get from a Christopher Nolan movie. Best of all worlds, man. That's all I want.
Oh, I'm so excited.
I was actually really surprised, probably even more surprised than the people that were in Hall H, just because Christopher Nolan, he's known to be very secretive, and he doesn't really like to get out there and he kind of likes to let his work speak for him. And just the fact that he showed up to such a place where, there are so many Nolan fanboys.
There are a few at Comic-Con.
Yeah, just a few.
Yeah.
Just
one or two.
They just kind of worship at the altar of Nolan, and just to come to the kind of the mecca of that, I thought was very surprising. Yeah, I like all the stuff that they're saying. I like what Matthew McConaughey says about the movie, saying that it's the most ambitious movie that Christopher Nolan has done, and this is coming from
so exciting.
someone that did Inception and did all these other movies. So the fact that Matthew McConaughey says that means that this is going to be, hopefully, much like with Inception, like a lot of new stuff that we haven't seen before.
Yeah, and I love how Matthew was saying that he met with Christopher Nolan for 3 hours and left going, I have no idea what that movie is about. Yeah. And that's pretty much what we've all been saying about Interstellar. I have no idea what it's about. He gave a little bit more plot details yesterday, but still have no idea what it's going to be about, but it doesn't matter. Christopher Nolan, it's space,
right.
It's all right. Matthew McConaughey in an astronaut suit, I am there.
Yeah, it being a Nolan movie, it's one of those things where, when the movie, before it comes out, they're going to say, like, ooh, this is the most ambitious project ever. But if it's a Nolan movie coming from McConaughey, you're like, I believe it.
Yeah.
Like, I buy the fact that I don't think it's just BS. I think it actually might be the most ambitious movie in the past few years.
Yeah. Oh, I can't wait to actually see the new trailer.
Me too.
Unfortunately, I was not in Hall H.
Yeah.
There are people out there who have seen it, who are watching this right now, and they're like, do we know?
People are raving on Twitter, on Facebook, and all that stuff about it. So
I know. This is my 4th Comic-Con, and I've never been inside Hall H.
Really?
So I've always been on the press lines, covering all the interviews for people, and I've never been able to get in there. And I've always said I wish they had a link up to Hall H in the press room, so you could actually see what people are seeing and what they're showing. Because then the stars come out, and you're like, what did you see? What did you show? Like, there's not much you can talk about. And that one particularly, I'm really sad I missed out on it. But I'm glad that he made the effort for fans.
Yeah, definitely. Also, yesterday, WB released a new photo from the Batman v Superman, and it's a close-up picture of Ben Affleck in the Batman suit. It's kind of a close-up picture. So, Jeremy, what do you think about this picture?
Batman just looks really sad.
Yeah.
And the last one, he looked really sad.
Yeah.
And so I'm kind of deducting that. I think Batman's sad. But I'll say this. It was a good close-up side profile. The way his chin looked, the way his face looked, I was like, that is Batman from The Dark Knight Returns. Like, it's that really gruff old Batman. And I was one of the people when it was like Ben Affleck as Batman. I'm like, we'll see. But then I start seeing that picture, and I'm like, God, maybe, like maybe he will be a good Bat. I want to see more than just a headshot. It's just a side profile headshot. But, I mean, you can't help but look at it and just say that's the comic book cover is what it looks like. It looks like a comic book cover.
Yeah, it looks really strong. I mean, I was one of the people who thought, Ben Affleck, let's give him a go. And I particularly thought about his smirk and his chin with a little cleft there. I thought that would look good in the cowl. It's very important, and it did. But, yeah, he does look so sad all the time. I guess he is an orphan, and he's had a hard life. But hopefully things are looking up for Batman. I can't wait to see a shot of Ben Affleck as Bruce Wayne. That's what I want to see. I want to see how he looks as Bruce Wayne, especially because he's beefed up so much. I don't think we've seen a beefy Bruce Wayne before. So I really want to see that. And I'm dying to see Wonder Woman. I've had enough of Batman looking sad. Bring me Wonder Woman in her costume. I want to see that.
You know what I heard? I haven't seen it, so it might be completely wrong. I hope it's not wrong. I heard that there was a picture of the Ben Affleck.
Yeah.
And he had gray hair, and people were like, I think that
Old
might
Bruce
be
Wayne, right?
behind the scenes on the set of Batman v Superman, but they don't know. But he had gray hair, and he looked old. And so they're like, they're going for old. He looks older than Ben Affleck usually looks.
Interesting.
And so that just got me intrigued. I want to see that pic. I want to see an official that, not just a speculation, maybe not.
Yeah.
Yeah, I mean, there's not much in the picture, but what we can see is, the chin. The chin. It looks
Strong
like
chin.
It looks like what Batman should look like.
Yeah, it doesn't look like Daredevil chin. It looks like Batman chin.
Thank God.
But he looks sad, but he's, I think they're gonna go with that. He's seen some stuff,
Right.
type
Dark.
of, like a war veteran. He's seen some dark stuff, and so that's why he's so sad.
Yeah. I don't mind a dark tone. I think that could be good. It's just so funny. I love all the memes that come out of every single picture.
Yeah, absolutely.
There was one of Superman hugging Batman from behind because he was so sad. I love all that stuff. So there's been plenty already with that picture of a lot of people saying, oh, sad Batman.
The one where he's hitting the swing.
That's my favorite one. I was telling you about that before we started filming. That's my favorite one, is where he's just hitting the swing like this, just perpetually.
So sad.
Well, speaking of Wonder Woman, I think the thing is people just want to see what the costume looks like.
Yeah.
Like, is it going to look ridiculous, or is it going to look modern and cool?
Exactly. Which way they're going to go with it. Because if they're taking a darker tone with Batman, maybe they'll take a darker tone with her, and that could be interesting.
And it does have to look, I mean, I hope it's like Thor, where you're like, oh yeah, that looks out there, but it works with the universe, you know? It's going to have to look, Amazonian and warrior-like. But I mean, if they go the Injustice Gods Among Us route, that'd be cool, because I like the costume in that.
Yeah.
But yeah, I agree. I want to see how that mixes, because you got really sad Batman, you have Superman, and then you have this warrior woman from the Amazon. You're like, let's see how all that mixes in the crock pot.
So over the last few days, Marvel has been releasing these Avengers character posters that kind of form together into a larger one. Here we can see that we've gotten almost all of them except for two that are missing, which I think is Thor and the Hulk. But in the latest ones that they've released, you can actually see Vision kind of further away in the background and not facing towards us, but you can kind of see his back. You can see his cape, but you don't see his collar. He doesn't seem to have a collar. Alicia, what do you think of this picture of Vision?
It looks like he believes he can fly. It's just floating up there in the air. I think it's really cool. I don't know too much about Vision, but I was reading about how it's possibly Jarvis. I think that's really interesting. The Ultron robots. I love how all these posters fit together. I think that's so smart and really clever, and I can't wait to see the two missing pieces. It looks like this film is going to be all-out war, and I love that. And I'm intrigued to know more about Vision and how he fits into the whole thing. But I think Robert Downey Jr. was saying that Marvel don't put anything in their movies for no reason.
Right.
So things lead up to other things. So that's why it makes sense if Jarvis becomes Vision.
Mm-hmm. Yeah, that's actually a really interesting take on it. I mean, it's funny because Vision's in the background. I do agree with the colors, but I always think big colors look weird. Unless it's on like Bela Lugosi or something, I'm like, all right, pass on the colors. So the fact that they've taken it away off of Vision, awesome. If they take it off of Doctor Strange, awesome. But in the entire mess of it, the only thing I didn't even notice the Avengers in there because all I saw were robots kicking everyone's ass.
Yeah.
It was just like a bunch of robots, and it reminded me of the scene in Man of Steel, where he's sinking into the skulls, and the skulls are just crowding around him and taking him over like quicksand. That's what it looks like. It looks like these things are like viral. They're just duplicating and multiplying, just Ultron drones, just taking everyone over. It looks like they're going to lose.
Yeah, that's what I like about it, because I think with superhero movies, it's sometimes hard to feel like there's real stakes.
Right.
Because you're like, they're superheroes. They can win every time, and we know they're going to survive, obviously, because of the Avengers 3. But it does look like there's going to be a tough fight.
Right, and yeah, because the first Avengers posters, it was all them posing. And they're all, you're like, yeah, they're here kicking ass. Nothing's breaking through that wall, and nothing did. This one, you're like unless Ultron drones, maybe.
All right, so now we're going to take some Twitter questions. The first one is from Stark MK42, and he writes, instead of introducing new characters, should Marvel focus on existing secondary characters like War Machine, Falcon? What are your thoughts, Alicia?
Well, I'm interested in how Falcon is going to be Captain America in the comics. So I'd love to see that happen in the movie universe as well as female Thor, because I think that's a cool concept. I agree because, I mean, coming from someone who doesn't read comic books, it gets really confusing having all these characters, and they set up a character, and if the character's not used even further, then I kind of think, what's the point of that character? I want to know more about War Machine. Falcon I really enjoyed in Captain America Winter Soldier. So I'm all for that. I think that's a good idea.
Yeah, I feel like if you don't keep bringing in new characters, then you're going to run out. Like if they just stick with Falcon and War Machine, and they just build on them for the next couple movies, at a point you're like, well, we're someone new. You know, is that all we have? Unless they start killing off like Captain America and then Falcon becomes Captain America or something like that. But it's all about how it fits. Because I would have told you that no more new people for Captain America 2, and then Scarlett Johansson kicked ass and became a grade A character, and then they brought in Falcon, and so I'm like, you know what? Yeah, bring in new people if you want, because if you can make it work, I'm down for that. If you can't make it work, I don't want it. I'm always contextual like that, you know?
Yeah, I'm looking forward to seeing Quicksilver and Scarlet Witch in Avengers and see how they fit in to the whole thing, especially with their ties to X-Men.
Right. It
blows my mind a little bit
this time around. Yeah, it's just magical.
Magical.
I would love to see a Falcon solo movie with Anthony Mackie. I was one of the people when they first announced that Falcon was going to be in Captain America, I was kind of worried. I was like, oh man, it's going to come off cheesy and stupid, but it actually was one of my favorite. He was one of my favorite parts of Captain America.
Yeah, great humor.
Exactly. So I think it is smart to maybe they should focus on some of these secondary characters and have them have solo films, because you already have that kind of built-in audience already that already loves them from these movies versus the new ones. Like, you know, let's say, you know, with the Doctor Strange movie, no one knows who that is, and especially the casual movie-going audience. And so this way, they already have like a kind of a built-in investment in these characters. So I think it's a smart move.
Yeah.
Yeah, I just think Frank Grillo should come in the Avengers 2 and just save the day. Frank Grillo as Crossbones is going to come in. That's how you get it done. Peace. And then he'll have his own movie.
I love Frank Grillo.
Right, me too. I think Scarlett Johansson as Black Widow, her solo movie, if she gets a solo movie, I think will set the stage to what they do after that. I feel like it is as important to that concept as Captain America was for the Avengers, because you felt like if Captain America failed, the whole thing was going to fall apart.
Yeah.
I feel like if Scarlett Johansson's movie fails, then they're not going to take those steps. If it succeeds, then you're going to see all sorts of side shoot characters.
It'd be great if they could do smaller spin-offs in between the big films to kind of keep you interested. I don't know if Marvel does small, but
I mean, they're kind of doing that with Star Wars, so maybe Marvel can do
that kind of thing.
Speaking of Frank Grillo, I know he's already going to be Crossbones, but I thought maybe he'd be a really cool Punisher.
Right.
If they ever did that.
That's what people were saying.
Yeah, and people were like, but he's Marvel, DC, and I tossed around my brain because I can think of Marvel people like the guy, I can't think of his name, Captain America.
Chris Evans.
Yeah, Chris Evans. Chris Evans played Human Torch, and he also played Captain America, but it's also Marvel. But then I thought about it. Here it is. It's Natalie Portman played Evie Hammond, which is in V for Vendetta, which is Vertigo, which is DC, and she also played in Thor. So that crossover has happened in a small character.
Before,
Not a big character, but a small character. So it can't happen. Bring Frank Grillo in as the Punisher. That's what we're saying.
Yeah, just Frank Grillo in anything.
Yeah.
I'm sold.
Cinema needs to get Grilloed.
Yes.
I got a question from Michael Greenway, 27 Greeno.
Hey, hi Greeno.
Should the film Warrior get a sequel, or is it better being a one-off?
Warrior, the one with Joel Edgerton and Tom Hardy. I liked it as a one-off.
Yeah.
I thought it told a complete story. It was much better than I thought it was going to be. I really liked it. I liked Nick Nolte as the father. I don't think it needs another one.
No, I damn near cried in that movie. You just can't help it, and you don't know who to root for. It's a great movie, but it's actually kind of a strange question. Like it's a good question, but it's one of those questions where I can't imagine it getting a sequel or where it would go. Really, I love it as a standalone movie. I feel like if you do a sequel, then you'd be explaining what the audience was left to just kind of have and deal with, you know. So it would compromise the story more than help it. So I'd say leave it alone.
Yeah, I think it's better off as a one-off, basically because of the storyline. But also, I think if you think about it financially, it didn't do very well.
Yeah, it didn't.
You know, so it's not like Rocky. You know, Rocky probably wasn't supposed to be a franchise. They probably were going to just do one, and that was it. But it became so popular and huge. They're like, all right, let's just make 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. With Warrior, it wasn't that successful, so I don't think there's any possibility for that at all. All right, let's see what else we got here. Jody Buston asks, do you think it's possible we will be introduced to Captain Marvel / Carol Danvers in Avengers Age of Ultron? Jeremy?
I feel like I can flip a coin and answer that. Like heads, yes, tails, no. Eeny, meeny, yeah, sure. Like, I don't know. I think at this point, all the teaser posters we have and any trailers we're going to get, there's going to be a surprise, a character that you may or may not know is going to be in it. They're definitely not going to show you everything. So there's going to be a new character revealed in a post-credit scene or somewhere in the movie that we don't know is coming. Is it them? Sure. It could be someone else completely different. It could be Strange for all we know.
Yeah, I have no idea. But
right.
I'm really looking forward to seeing what they reveal here at Comic-Con.
Right. And that's the good thing is that I cannot tell you among all the Marvel lore who's going to be in it because it literally is anybody could be it. Like a few years ago I could tell you, no, it's going to be this person, or that person. Now I have no idea. Marvel's so huge. Go play Marvel Heroes. Pick one. Could be.
Yeah.
You don't know.
I don't know. They all seem like such great characters.
Right.
It seems like you could bring anyone into the mix and they would work. I have no idea. I need to read your Marvel encyclopedia.
I'll loan it to you.
Yeah.
It's right here, Alicia. And you got to get in the mind.
Okay.
Beware. There is a warning that comes with that.
Look who's joining us.
With her Darth Vader hat.
I know. Look how cool you look.
She got at the Hit Fix Star Wars Rebels party.
How you doing, Miss?
How you doing?
I'm doing all right. Just wanted to give you bunny ears. We have a battle going, and so far I'm winning.
What's the battle?
I have no idea.
Involving bunny ears?
Sure.
Sure.
That's the hangover
AMC.
I was talking about. It's a Twitter battle. I posted a picture of we were strangling each other, and then
Here's
she was going to punch it. John Campia.
Come sit down with us, John. How are you
Hi,
feeling?
you're sitting on my court, John. How's it going? All right.
That's what you said last night. My voice is still gone, but otherwise, cheers, everybody.
He's wearing sunglasses indoors.
Are we talking about baseball?
Talking about Avengers.
Yay! Okay, everyone leave.
I love it here. It's so funny. You never know what's going to happen.
This is Comic-Con, ladies and gentlemen.
And hopefully I haven't flashed any of you today with my skirt.
Yeah, they're like, hopefully not. That'd be terrible. That'd be terrible, Alicia Malone. We don't want that.
Shut up.
All right.
Deleted scenes.
Let's do one more question. Best thing you've seen at Comic-Con so far? This is from Av's backup guy.
Oh, hands
Yes.
down. Hands down. Alicia Malone herself.
Oh, stop it. She's so nice. Have you seen any crazy costumes?
Let's see. Of the costumes you know what's really funny about Comic-Con is I walked around, I saw dinosaurs, I saw robots, I saw League of Legends, and I was walking around in a suit in 95-degree weather, and I said to myself, I am the strangest dressed person here. And that's what I assessed from Comic-Con. There are awesome costumes here.
Yeah.
It's just so much creativity and imagination goes into this stuff. I can't fathom how someone goes from zero to done in these costumes. It's just some of the other, they have robotic parts.
I know.
And
It's so
puppeteering.
clever.
It's
Yeah.
like Jim Henson is in a basement somewhere cranking these things out for people.
I know. I haven't been able to see too many costumes just yet. I hope I can get amongst it more today. I saw Loki that looked exactly like Tom Hiddleston. Could have been. I mean, Hugh Jackman did that last year, and no one knew that
That's
he was
awesome.
the actual Wolverine was walking around. But so I'd say the best thing I saw was Wesley Snipes. I talked to him for
Oh, you
The
saw Snipes?
Expendables 3.
Really?
And he really liked my Jaws t-shirt, and he gave me a big hug. I was like, this is weird, but this is cool.
You're like, your blade.
Like,
I'm gonna
this is
hug you, yeah.
awesome. Yeah, he was delightful, so nice. And the Expendables cast were just having a ball, drinking beer, and just having a good time during the interview. And also Jeff Bridges is always so lovely. So I got to talk to him and John Malkovich as well.
Wow.
Yeah. I mean, right now it's only day 2. We still have another couple days left, so there's a lot of things. You know, I walked the floor a little bit yesterday, so we saw, they had that giant smog head at the Weta
Yes.
at the
Yeah,
Weta
that's
booth.
good.
Yeah.
That was pretty cool. They also had the World of Warcraft from the movie, like some props,
I
like a
didn't see
big
that. I
giant
need to check that out.
shield and a sword, something like
Cool.
that. In terms of costumes, this isn't the best costume. I just thought this was weird. There was a girl that was dressed up as Little Mermaid,
Ah,
right?
Ariel.
I saw an Ariel,
but
yeah.
she was on a cart, and someone else was pulling the cart for her. So she was going around Comic-Con, and her poor friend is
Just
Dragging
lugging her
her
around.
lugging her
In
around.
95-degree weather and 97%
Exactly.
humidity, yeah.
So I thought that was a little odd.
That is odd.
You know, a big thing right now is women dressing like male characters, making them female.
I
though.
love that.
Yeah, like
I love that.
There's a comedian from Watchmen,
Yeah.
and I mean she's like super sexy. I'm like, it's the comedian, but
I think that's
Yeah.
great. See, I'm always scared to cosplay because all the female characters wear next to nothing.
so now you can be a male
Nothing.
character turned into a female character wearing next to nothing.
Well, I'd be
It
a
makes sense.
male character turned into a female character wearing the male character's clothes.
You know
I
what?
would do.
The coolest thing, it's one of those video game idol things. I met Hideo Kojima, who does the Metal Gear Solid series. I'm a huge fan, and I was at the IGN party, and I'm just looking. I'm like, that's Hideo Kojima. And I had to go over and I took a picture with the guy. I was like, I love your work so much. That was probably
That's a highlight.
that was the coolest part of Comic-Con for me.
Yeah.
Among all of it.
All right, guys. So that's it for today's show. We're going to come back with you with more Comic-Con news and talk about all that stuff. So before we head out, Alicia, can you tell people where they can find you?
You can find me on Instagram or Twitter at Alicia Malone.
And Jeremy?
You can find me on YouTube at Jeremy Johns. That's JAHNS, and Twitter at Jeremy Johns. But pretty much it's all at Jeremy Johns.
All right, guys. So, and you can find me on Twitter at ThinkHero and on Instagram, Dennis.tzeng. So thanks for watching, and we'll talk to you guys soon.
Bye.
Hey everyone, if you liked this video, click that thumbs up button and make sure to subscribe to our AMC Movie News YouTube channel. It's free and helps you stay up to date with all the latest movie news, as well as our daily AMC movie talk show. Also, make sure that you follow us on Facebook and Twitter to stay up to date with all of our special promotions, contests, and prize giveaways.